Hello and welcome back. Before I will jump into the main topic of this video, I want you to see two clips. First one is going to be from Douglas Vogt, from the founder of Diehold Foundation, and the second one is from Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observers. And then I will continue explaining what next. Okay, so watch the clips.
This is the basic graph of how the matter world and us come into existence. This graph shows the matter world, the information world, and time. The Diehold, anyway, when you say something is part of a synchronous system, you're saying it's part of a computer. I call this computer the Diehold, D-I-E-H-O-L-D, spell it right. And it's a special kind of computer, obviously. It's some kind of quantum computer, but it creates reality. Now, you can also see what time is. With all the dimensions, I can tell you what time is in one sentence. I don't have to write a whole book. Time is the rate at which the Diehold transmits our information. That's it.
I'm going to tell you the scariest true story ever told, over thousands of years, in thousands of versions with different names and minute details, but the story always ends the same way, with the next end of the world. We'll give you the short version first, and then the burden of proof will fall here to present the evidence across time and topic that the slow crawl of geology, the wind, water, fire, and tectonic creep is punctuated in rare occasions by disastrous upheaval. The Earth's magnetic field reverses, with dramatic excursion events sprinkled between. They can occur in less than 100 years from plunge to rock bottom. Earth's ongoing magnetic event has already been underway 150 years, into the red zone, and it is speeding up. Let's begin in the 1700s, with a surge of global exploration in science and the discovery of the evidence for these cycles. A dozen researchers became dozens in the 1800s as more evidence and excitement and terror over the implications of the evidence was mounting in an undeniable charge to science to explain all the evidence. The 1900s saw a further growth of the field. Many researchers gained considerable fame, while others were silenced. The end of the century saw the birth of the plasma universe connection to catastrophism, with the first global study of petroglyphs describing a solar catastrophe in antiquity. The story truly begins, relevantly however, with the man almost certainly responsible for the misdirection of the truth, Charles Hapgood. His Earth crust displacement theory became the torch for the catastrophe cycle, and when it bombed, it took down the entire field with it. We will demonstrate his motive and opportunity to cheat Einstein, that he knew the truth, he covered it up. A key element of that cover-up occurred in the 1960s, when a theatrical, extravagant, and shock-driven Hollywood-style description of the catastrophe was classified by the CIA. That is one mystery. Why this one when so many others had discussed the topic for years, for centuries? Could it be that this one contained something unique? When it was declassified and released in 2016, it was heavily sanitized down to only 57 pages, but even those pages deliver incredible bounty, and that is where we will begin, with just another of the thousands of versions of this story, one we will show to be partly right and partly wrong in the rest of this video, but either way, which endows upon you the mindset required to take this journey with us, as dozens of researchers and CIA co-founder Charles Hapgood himself put out their own versions of the story. Here is Chapter 1 of the only work on the catastrophe that was classified. With a rumble so low as to be inaudible, growing, then fuming into a thundering roar, the earthquake starts. Only it's not like any earthquake in recorded history. In California, the mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. With the force of 1,000 armies, the wind attacks. Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of water moves across the continent, burying the wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. Central America suffers the same cannonade. South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the cataclysmic violence pounded out by nature in her berserk rage. In less than a day, Ecuador, Peru, western Brazil are shaken madly by the devastating earthquake, burned by molten earth fire, buried under cubic miles of torrential Pacific seas, and then turned into a frozen hell. Everything freezes. Man, beast, plant, and mud are all rock hard in less than 4 hours. Europe cannot escape the onslaught. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish in nature's wrath. The area bounded by the Congo, South Africa, and Kenya suffers only severe earthquakes and wind. Survivors there marvel at the sun standing still in the sky for nearly half a day. As the Arctic basin leaves its polar home, eastern Siberia, Manchuria, China, and Burma are subjected to the same annihilation as South America: wind, earth fire, inundation, and freezing. The Bay of Bengal basin, just east of India, is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean, just west of Peru, is at the South Pole. Australia is the new, unexplored continent in the North Temperate Zone, with only a few handfuls of survivors populating its vastness. The cataclysm has done its work well, and drives the pitiful few who survive into a new Stone Age. Once more, the Earth has shifted its shell, with the poles moving almost to the equator in a fraction of a day. Again, the atmosphere and oceans, refusing to change direction with the Earth's shell, have wiped out almost all life. After this tumble, we'll join Noah, Adam and Eve, Atlantis, Mu, and Olympus.
It is very frightening, isn't it? Well, that begs the question, is this the beginning or the end? Well, if something ends, something else begins. That's why the title of this video. To me, this isn't the end. This is the beginning of something else, something different. But on that subject a little bit later. So let's talk about the first clip from Douglas. I have lots of respect for him, even though there are places where I disagree with him. This is one of those instances where I disagree with him on the subject of the Diehold computer. There is no such thing. But, well, to understand that, you will need to see my future videos where I am going to explain that he is describing here a very unique process, which to him appears as if this is some kind of universal computer that is processing that information. You will see for yourself that that's not correct. Also, he mentioned time. Time is also always related to space. They are both married. If there is a space, the byproduct of space is always time, and time is causing that the space do exist. They are always together. And both at the same time, they are illusion. They do not exist. So on this part of his finding, I do not agree with him. However, as I said, he invested a lot of years, decades to investigate what happened in the past, and I have nothing but respect for that man. However, I not necessarily agree with him on all his findings. That does not mean that what I'm saying is disrespectful. It's not. I'm just going to present my view sometimes in the future, and then you can see for yourself. Am I right? This is not up to me to judge. This is up to you. Now let's talk about the second clip. The second clip is really frightening from Ben. Again, this is all based on the past findings. This is based on analysis of all the evidence that they had, the scientific evidence from archaeology or geologists. and they analyzed and they simply figured out that the events were happening in a specific way, and right now all the signs are showing that something like that may happen again. I already know that 90% of what he's presenting most likely will happen. However, not everything is going to unfold the same way. They also know that because each event that they describe every 12,000 years or so was a little bit different. There is another aspect coming into play, that is the fact that something is going to happen beforehand, something that is around the corner and it's going to be happening sometimes between 2026 and 2033. Those are the key years for human existence on Earth. So how many of you are going to see the final call, if you will? I don't know. This is up to you. If your approach to this whole thing is to be here at all costs, that means you may have some kind of unhealthy attachment to this reality, which is not necessary. But then I don't blame you. You are conditioned to believe and see the world you see. That's a little bit, this society is at fault here. But on the other hand, well, if I could figure out this whole thing, then you could as well. So in the future videos, the next one following this one is going to be the source. I am going to explain to you exactly what it is, who we are, and how this whole the mechanics behind this, how this whole thing works. Explaining that, I am going to bring as much scientific evidence as possible. In my case, I cannot provide you with some tangible connection to the source of the information that is feeding me that. Everyone has that. Everyone possesses the ability that I do. So you don't need to rely on what I say. You just need to practice a little bit your own gifts, and you can do the same thing. Lots of people from Thunderbolt Project and Ben, and as well as Douglas, they already did the main frame, pushing the science into the right direction. There is another person that is Aileen McCusick. She's working with the biofeedback frequencies. She should be included in this whole thing because it's she has something to offer that is not recognized yet. Perhaps after what I am going to present to you in future videos, then you will understand that her input in this scientific world, what she has to offer, is really important, and it should be looked at this ASAP, especially if it comes to plasma cosmology and astrophysics, because that's important. Now let's talk about the cover-up by CIA. Well, not everything there is correct. You do remember that there was a guy named General Byrd that he was leading the expedition to Antarctica. They already knew back then about this whole reversal. They already knew what is happening and when it possibly may happen. They were already looking for evidence. They were already looking for how to build shelters. He was flying over North Pole, South Pole. He already knew what he was looking for, and that information came even earlier. That was since 18 something. That was leaked to CIA. I don't think their CIA was there, but it was to special services, and then eventually the CIA was created later. What they didn't know, that there was a group of men that were already for the past 300 years, I think, or 200, something like that, already working on shelters. They were working already with a group of people building colonies. So we have already 4th or 5th generation of people that are living in different conditions. They are in different system. They are being trained to survive in very difficult conditions. So if you are worried about that, you shouldn't, because many of them will survive. It was every time the same. It's the scenario every 12,000 years is the same. There's always a group of men that are ahead of the crowd. They take care of that. So the seeds for our future society or future generations is already there. So you don't need to really worry about that. Now, there are other things that are taking place right now that not many are aware. One of those events that is happening is the disappearances, the missing 411. Not all of them are kidnappings. I mean, most of them, they are not kidnappings, because there is this whole conspiracy theory that there must be aliens or the government snapping people from parks, which is not correct. It has to do with the electromagnetic filaments and electromagnetic connections. They call them bridges. In other words, there are connections between two different realities, two different settings of existence, where there are crossings from one to another. Douglas mentioned that the cave in his videos. Yeah, basically the same principle, but on that subject I am going to make a completely separate few videos where I want to bring some evidence, hardcore evidence, to help you understand that, because behind the scene there is happening a lot more that people are not aware, or they don't want to be aware. Our world is very materialistic, and everybody is focused on about what the new model of a computer is going to be, or cell phone, or the car, or invest in Bitcoin or something like this. This is all distraction. This is not necessary. But we became so materialistic that we are disconnected from ourselves. And right now, this whole thing is happening only for one reason and one reason only. You may not understand that, but this is to put an end to that. You are so much disconnected that you need to start over. You need to go back to your roots and connect with yourself. That's why this is happening. Of course, Douglas is explaining that there is a clock cycle, that everything is done according to the time, and many agree with that. But however, that's not correct. The events, because time is measured in events, not in how many times the Earth goes around the sun or how many rounds the sun goes around the galaxy. It has nothing to do with that. Everything is measured in events. We come to a point where we are completely disconnected from each other. That's it. It's cut off time. It's like the lifeline is being cut off because there is no more support coming in. If you are breathing oxygen from a tank through a pipe, and then someone is going to cut the pipe, that's it. It's over. So basically, the same thing is happening right now. You are disconnected from the tank, from the supporting force, and that's why the tank right now is useless. And you are going to be cut off, and you are going to be placed in different conditions and reconnected with the tank again. And then you're going to go for a while, and then you are going to go disconnected again, and then you are going to go for a while. This merry-go-round goes over and over and over, never stops. So I hope this explanation gives you a little bit ease. remember that this life form that you are having is just life form. This is not your life. Your life is a completely different story, is a completely different set, is completely different energy pattern. You are only locked in your body, in the physical body, for one reason and one reason only: to collect experience and be more focused at what is happening around you. However, that is already, as I mentioned, I am repeating that, you are disconnected. You are more right now into the suffering, going to work, paying bills, and so on. You are no longer a human. You are just, I don't know, this is something that's very unnatural, but you decided to experience that. So you are reaching the point where you said, when we come to the road where we behave in such and such a way, please end this project. And that's what is happening right now. There is no punishment. There is no some kind of, we are not on mercy of the galaxy. We are not on the mercy of the sun, because sun never kills anybody, never will. Sun only provides conditions for life. Sun provides different conditions for life to be, always supports. And it supports not only our reality, it supports billions of others. When there is a solar flare, that electromagnetic pulse is arriving everywhere, because next to our reality, as we know, there is another one, and it's interacting with ours. And there is sometimes crossing, there is interaction, but you don't know that because you are so much focused on bitcoins and what Trump tweeted last time and all garbage that is not important. And if you close the goddamn computer, don't listen to the TV, don't listen to the radio, just pay attention to what is happening around you, then you will see that, because they are almost in your face and you just don't want to see them. Okay, so for now, the question is this the end of the road, or is this the beginning of the road? Well, it is the beginning of the road, not the end. The conditions are going to change. You are going to continue your life in different setting, and well, it's going to be according to your desires. Now, you need to prepare yourself for the next step. Right now, you have no clue what is happening, and you need to be aware of what is happening, who you are, what the steps, what the possibilities are, what options you have, so you can make better choices. Okay, and that's where I am coming in. So Douglas and Ben, they did their work, and of course all the people from Thunderbolt Project. And now someone like me is stepping in to help you to get to the next step. However, I need their support. I am going to throw at them some concepts that they either need to prove or disprove. There might be other scientists, there might be other people from different fields, but this, what I am going to present to you, is as much scientific as I can do. All right, so thank you for watching. Please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and of course click the like button, and please share with others, because the more you guys know, the better. All right, thank you.